Hey everyone, welcome back to the React course. I'm super excited to have you. This lecture is a starting point in our course where we change the gears from learning basics about React to starting our project. Now, as I already mentioned that we've covered the basics in the last 8 lectures that we have gone through till now, and as we already know that we are going to make a project in this course. So today we are going to start with that project. Now what I've done is I've gone ahead and what I've done is I have used npx create react app, and I've created something called my portfolio, which is going to be the name of our project. And if I want to show you that, then you can clearly see that the app lives here. Now what I want to do is I want to go back to VS Code and I want to change the project. I'm going to close this folder and I'm going to open up the folder that we are going to deal with now. So if I go ahead and open up the portfolio app folder, then you will see that I haven't deleted anything from this right here. And if I just go ahead and start this with npm start, it's going to take a little. So it's going to start for the first time and started. Now we'll see that this is going to look as ditto as the app we had last time, so without cleaning anything. So this looks like this. So let's jump to what we are going to make and then look into how we are going to make that and how we are going to go by that, and then we'll start coding. So what project I want to make with you? So what I want to make with you is I want to make a portfolio website with you. Now what's a portfolio website? A portfolio website is just a website that you use for your own sake. So just imagine this being your website. Now this is just an example website. This comes from Vishwesh, who is a friend of mine, and this is his portfolio website. So what he has right here is that he has a pic of his, then his name, then he has wrote stuff about him, what he thinks is important about him and what you might want to know about him. So this is this. Now this is something of a square, or say this is a box itself, and he has all his social media availabilities here, and there down here he has a navigation. Now if I want to talk about components right here, then this might be a component, this whole thing. So it's basically a rectangle with an image and some text, and this is placed somewhere in the web page. Then this might also be a component, which is his information, that whatever he wants you to know and whatever you might be concerned with. Then this can also be a component where all his social media details live, and then the navigation itself is a component. Now this is just the home page, and we are gonna play around with this app a lot. This is what the basic idea of our app is also going to look like. So I'm going to create a generic app that is going to be of a random person, and we are also going to make a portfolio. So we are going to have a home page that is going to tell who you are and stuff like that. Then we are going to have a blog where you can write blogs, and people in IT sector and especially programmers and developers are really into blogs, and they always want to share what they're learning and what they are working with. So a blog is a great opportunity to do that. Then we are going to have a page where someone, if they want to contact you or they want to reach out to you on some skill that you have, or they have a project for you, or they want you to work for them in any manner, then we are going to have a contacts page where they can fill in a form and they can fill in their requirements and they can directly send you, and then you will receive that information somehow. Then there is about, where you can say more about yourself. Say if you are looking for a job, then you can also have the section called resume, where you could just send their resume, you can directly give them a download link and more. So we are going to build on this idea that this particular theme is called a portfolio website, and we are going to make one for that. Now my reason of picking this instead of any other project is, if you're going to build this project and if you're going to follow me doing all the exercises I'm going to do throughout the construction of the project, then there are going to be two things. One, you're going to have experience with React, and two, you're going to have a portfolio ready. And a portfolio nowadays is a really good thing. Now, if you write you have a portfolio available online somewhere live, and we are going to also make our website live going forward, so it's going to be available on the internet, and then you can write about your React experience, and you can also write blogs about how you learned React. And if somebody wants to give you a job, or you may apply for a job in future, then you are going to have a easier time. So that being said, let's just clean our React app first. So this is what we get currently, and I want to clean this. So first of all, I want to delete this because I don't need this. Then second of all, I'm just going to delete this test2 for a while, because I don't need those tests right now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into app.js, and I'm going to remove this whole bit because I don't need it as yet. So I'm just going to remove this and this div2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this logo reference because I don't need this. And in the app.css, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clean the whole thing. So I'm going to save this again and just keep that here, and then just write h1 here. So what is this h1 going to say? This is our React app. So this is the minimal setup we have right now, and I've cleaned the project. Now you see there are 3 files here that we are concerned with, and this looks similar to that. Now I'm keeping index.css as it is because it's just a minimal setup, and it just allows you to create dynamic apps. So I'm gonna keep that CSS because it's not gonna concern mine that much. Now if I save this, you can already see my app is running, and if I go back, I just see a plain white page and this heading. Now let's go back to Vishwesh's portfolio and see what 2 things that we want to create in the coming 2 lectures. So one thing that I want to create first is this component. So what I see right here is that this can be a component. Okay, now let's talk about whether it has to be a functional component or a class-based component. Think of this component like this. If I click this icon, will that make a state change in my app? And for our current purposes, I'll say no. No, why? Because what behavior I want is, if somebody comes ahead and clicks on my Facebook icon, then what should happen is that they should get redirected to my Facebook account. So I don't want them to stay on my app. I just want them to go someplace else. But if that is the behavior I want, then there is no state in this component, and this is just UI that is going to interact with other websites, not my website. So this can be a functional component. Now there is no disadvantage of creating a class component, but thinking about what is the requirement of a functional component and where is the requirement of a class-based component is really important, and it's going to come in real handy for you if you are going to do this more. So whenever you are going to work on bigger apps, then having this idea of, say, being able to identify that if my component needs state or not, and if there is a point of creating a class-based component or not at all, is going to help me in the future. Currently I don't see any feature or anything inside this, just this component, that I want to use state for, so I'm not going to use that. And today in this lecture I want to finish building this component. So let's go back to our app, and in our sources folder, let's create a folder called components. So components. Now once I've created this folder, inside this folder, what I want to do is, for every single component that I'm going to create, I'm going to create a folder for it. So I'm going to call it media component. Okay, and what I want to do is, now inside here I want to have 2 files. So one is going to be social media component .js, and the other file that I want to have inside here is so I'm going to give it a brief name, so smc.css for social media component.css. And I don't actually have a preference for naming your CSS, but what I personally think is a good practice is inside your components, if you have a component, say social media component, and you create two files called social media component and its CSS, then you can use your functional components and style them right where they are, so that your CSS and your UI stays together and they are in an intact unit that's called social media component. So in here what I'm going to do is I'm going to first import React because we are going to write some JSX. So how do you import React? So you import React from the React package, and that is available to us because we installed it, and we didn't necessarily install it, but create React app helped us install it. So now what I want to do is I want to create that component. So constant social media component. Now you might be thinking already that I'm writing this a lot, and the thought might come to your head that why write this over and over again when you are saying at up top that it's a social media component and you are naming the whole thing over and over again. That just makes it easier to read when you are working with a bigger project. I like to call my components and those with components so that I can have a clear vision of what they are and how they are gonna work and what they serve a purpose for. Now people around the React community also like to differentiate between whether they have a functional component or a class-based component, but I don't think that is important, and that is just a preference that you are doing. So I like to just have a component folder, and inside that I have folders for my individual components, and then just I create those components. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export this. So export default and social media component. Now let's write some JSX and think about how this is going to work. So let's just test this once. So for a paragraph I'll say this is my social media component. Okay, I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to go back to my app.js, and instead of using this I'm going to import that. So import social media component from, now you know the syntax. So if I go into components, then I go into social media, and then I go into this file, then I can get that component out of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this with social media component, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to save my app, and it compiles successfully. If I go back to our app, then we clearly see that it's just coming through. Now let's just change the styling of app first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class that I'm going to call app, and here what I just want to do is I just want to put up a little bit of width and height. So what I want to do is I want to have the width of 100 VA or VW, and that's just how wide your browser is, and I'm going to have a height of say 100 VH. Now these are just viewport width and viewport height, and if you're comfortable with CSS you already know these. Then what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a padding, and what the padding might look like is I just want to have a padding of say 50 pixels for now, just to play around a little more. And if I save this now, if I go back up top, I'm just going to create a div that's going to contain this app class. So, and let me just come back to this and how this is going to work in a second, but just trust me and see if this works once. And if this works once, then I'm going to explain how this is working. If we go back, we can clearly see that we have a width and a height of our component, and it's also getting inside. Now you can also do it like this. So instead of 100 VH, you can do 100% and 100%, and this will also be similar to that. So this is similar to that, and I also have that padding available to me. Now this is just CSS. How this works is I am importing this CSS file here. If I import a CSS file, what React does is it gives me access to all the classes that I've defined here, or all the styling that I've done here. It loads it inside my component for me. So when I'm using this app.css class and I'm importing this without a name, it gives me access to everything I've written here. So I have access to a CSS class called app inside my component. That's why I am able to give div a class. Now in traditional CSS you write just class and not class name. But in React you have to write class name because of a reason, and that reason is class is a keyword in JavaScript. So if you write class, the JavaScript interpreter might get confused of what that is. So you have to write this thing called class name, which actually gets converted into HTML class. But in React, when you are writing JSX and when you are styling your component, what you have to write is you have to write app. Okay, that's cool. Now let's go back to our app and just clean these for once, because I don't want to have anything. I just want a padding. I'm just going to keep my setup minimal as possible. So I'm going to do this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our social media component, and now I want to think about what actually my component is going to look like. So let's go back to Vishwesh's portfolio once, and let's try to analyze how he might have gone by constructing this. So if I look at this, I see that this is an image, this is an image, this is an image, this is an image, and he has like 6 or 7 images. Okay, that sounds good. Now I also see a pattern, and that pattern is that every single image is essentially just a box. So this is a box, then this is a box, then this is a box, and they are placed with a little space between each other. So if ignoring the abstraction of having icons, let's just try to create boxes first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a container first. So all the things that I'm going to create from this point onwards are going to come inside this container, and this is going to be my social media container. So I'm going to have a div, and I'm going to have a div. So inside this div, what I want is I want some boxes. So let's just create box. So it's also going to be a div, and let's just write F for Facebook for now, and let's just repeat ourselves a little. Copy, paste, and say I have Facebook, I have G for GitHub, I have T for Twitter, and say I have L for LinkedIn. Now if I save this and if I go back to our app, I see one problem that they are coming under each other. So this is a block element behavior, and I don't want that to be happening. So how do I do that? Now is the time to introduce CSS. So I'm going to close these two for a while, and I'm going to go back to our CSS, and first I want to create a container. So I'm going to have a class called social media container, and this is just a top class that is going to contain the whole thing. So I want it to be as wide as the outside thing, so I'm giving it a width 100%. Then I want it to adjust its height automatically, so I'm not going to touch height. Now I'm going to give it a padding of say 20 pixels all around. Then what I want to do is I want to have, just to see how this looks, I want to have a background. So I just want to have a background, and let's say the background has to be red, just to clearly see what's happening. Now I'm not gonna talk to you about making this pretty or anything. We are gonna do that later, but just for testing purposes, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have that social media container. Save that, and this will not understand this until unless I import that. So importing. Now what I want to do is I just want to stay inside this folder, and the file is called social media component.css, and once I've imported that, the CSS is gonna be applied now. If I go back and I clearly see that this is my container, so as I had width 100%, this is what I get, and due to the padding of 20 pixels, I get this padding. So it's actually stretching from here to here, but due to the padding I have this slightly embedded inside, and that padding is this. So the content should be here, but due to the padding it's here. Okay, now let's jump to how we are gonna make these from horizontal to vertical. And for this purpose I'm going to use some technique called flexbox. You can do it in any way you want to. CSS has so many ways of doing this that if even 10 or 20 people have different opinions on this, then they can actually style their components in 20 different ways, and all of those will be correct. For convenience and my personal preferences, I'm going to use flexbox, but I don't have opinion on this, and you can use whatever CSS techniques suits you better. So that being said, now what flexbox is if you have CSS knowledge, then what you need to do is you need to say display, and then you have to set it to flex. Now just saving this, you see that these have already changed to from horizontal to vertical, and flexbox is a one-dimensional styling technique that works in just one dimension. So either it's going to be like one row or one column or something like that. So I'm going to continue using that. Now what I can do is I can have something called, now if I want to set flex direction, then I can go ahead and set it to row, but it's actually default row. So I'm going to show you what column means. So if I do this column and if I save this, then they are going to become horizontal again or vertical again. But if I want it to be row, then I can set it to row, but that's default, and so I don't have to set it. But setting it to row explicitly is a good thing because different browsers might implement this differently, and being explicit about CSS is always a nice thing. So we have already done that. Now what I want to do is I want to use something called justify content, and basically what justify content will do is, in row, this direction is a row, and justify content means that where should this content be on the x-axis, current row axis. So this is the row axis and where that content should be. So I want it to be on center, and if I save this, you see this comes at center. Now this is somewhere in center only, and now I want to put like spaces between them. So I want to do something called, they are actually too close to each other. So what I want to do is I'm also going to use a property from flex, and these are things that you can look up on the internet regarding flex, and these are just things. So if I say space between, or you can do a lot of other things as well. So you can just go ahead, give all these a class, and then you can have those. So now justify content is being done. Now what I can do is, if I want to show a different way to you, then I can create another class for say item. So say social media icon, and then I can just have like a margin left of 20 pixels, and if I save this and if I go here, and then I can be like, so I want this to have a class of, so class name, and then it should be social media item, and let me just check if I name those two. So here it is icon, and just want it to be item, some CSS that is going to make that element have some margin on each side. So what I want this to be is, so say I wanted to have a size, right? So let's just give it a padding of 20 pixels, and then just save this and see what happens. So I just want the padding to be on left and right. So padding left should be this, and padding right should also be this, and then there is a smaller syntax for that too, so you can also use that. So padding right should be 20 pixels, and if I save this now, you can clearly see this give it a separation, and then I'm going to use this class on all my components. So what I can do is I can copy this code from here, copy, and then I'm going to just do this for all these, and now we have a layout that is kind of similar to Vishwas's. Okay, just that only difference is for his he's using icons, and for ours we are using letters, just single letters. Okay, and these can be later replaced with icons or images or whatever you want it to be. Now we are getting where we want to be. Even if we are making slow progress, we are getting to a point where it's starting to look like what we want it to be. Now what we want this if to have a behavior is that we want this unit to be a link, so that somebody can click on this and then they can be redirected to a different website. So how do you create links is you use the anchor tag, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to create an anchor tag and I'm going to call it, and for Facebook what I'm going to do is https:// facebook.com, and I'm just going to close this. Now I'm going to save this, and you might see that this has a little color change and it has an icon, it has a line under it showing that this is a anchor tag or this is a link basically. And I'm going to copy paste this for all of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this here, I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to call it G, and in here I'm going to do the same behavior. So let's remove this, let's paste this, and this was for Twitter and the last one was for LinkedIn. So let's do the LinkedIn also. So L. Now let's just change this to GitHub, and let's keep the other two similar. So now what we can do is I can click on this and I'll go to server, so Facebook, and my internet is not currently connected, so Facebook won't load, but you can clearly see that this is changing. So it's trying to reach GitHub, but my internet is not connected, so it's not going to be able to reach GitHub. Now this is also one requirement that our app had, so we have satisfied that. Now if you see closely that we are repeating ourselves a little here. So we are having a div that is called social media item, and then we have a say link, and we have a text for that link, and we are repeating ourselves 4 times here, and that is not something that React encourages you to do. So in this condition what you should do is, rather than repeating yourself 4 times, what you can do is you can create another component. Now you have multiple choices of creating this component, so you could call this social media item component and you can place it directly under components. But the thing is that this component will only be used by social media components. So my personal preference of writing this is you write it inside, you create another folder here and you call it social media item, and I'm sorry, so what you call it is, in here you create a folder and you call it social media item component, and inside that you create a file called social media item component .js. Okay, and now what you do is you just take this logic. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to remove the bits that I don't need, so Control A, copy everything, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. So I want to have this, and the name is item component, and if I just copy this so that I can just paste it down, copy, and I'm going to export this in this case. So removing this, I'm going to export this. Now I want to return just one of those, so remove this and everything under it, and it's just unintended, so it's good now. Now we don't have this class social media item, and so we are going to create CSS, and inside this I'm just going to call it item.css. so here it's the item.css, and I'm going to copy from myself again. I'm going to cut this from here, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to go ahead and paste this. Now in this component, rather than importing this CSS, I'm going to import item.css, and these things right here, this is always going to be same, and this is in our CSS now, so it's in item.css, so this will work. Now what I want to do is I want to make this so that this link and this text can be made interactive. So how do you make that interactive? You use props. So what I want to do is I'm going to call it props dot and somehow dot my VS Code has gone crazy and it's not allowing me to write props. So props dot name, and here I want to call this props dot link. So props dot link. Okay, and now I can use this in multiple scenarios because I have a structure that I can fill in with props, and I'm going to use that. So, and I don't need this import. VS Code imported this for some reason. I don't need this. And now coming back to our social media component, rather than doing all this, what I want to do is I want to create an object, and this pattern that I'm going to show you right now is very common if you are writing React apps and that are bigger React apps. So what I want to do is I want to create an object, and I want to call it all social media handles. Now this is going to be an array, and what this array will have is this array will be array of objects. Okay, now what this object is going to have is this object is going to contain two things. So one is going to be the name. So say the name is Facebook, and then what I have is I have a link. So the link is https://facebook.com, and in your case what this can be is your name or that location of that image that we want to show or anything. But for our current purposes, what we want to show is the name, and then we want to use that link, so wherever that is going to point to. Now I'm going to create multiple of these, so I'm going to just copy, and this is very common when making React apps, that you have the structure, and I'm going to show you how this structure is going to help you. So just use that and just change this. So say github.com, then I'm going to have Twitter, and then I'm going to have twitter.com, and then lastly LinkedIn, and then linkedin.com. Now if I save this, I have access to this variable called social media handles, all social media handles. And how I'm going to use this is I am going to use a technique called moving over all the elements. So what I can do is inside my return I can write JavaScript, and you already know that. So I'm going to write some JavaScript, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that variable. Now this is an array, and I can map over all the elements of this array using the syntax of using map. And if you watched, or if you already know how map works, then it takes in a function, and that is a callback function. It's going to call on every single element you're going to pass into this. It gives you the item that is on the current thing, and it gives you an index. Then what it does is it can return anything. So in the return, what I want to have is I'm going to return some JSX. Okay, so what my JSX will look like is I'm going to have a social media item. So I'm going to return a social media item, and then I have to pass two things to this. So I have a name. So where is that name? So my item is an object, as you can clearly see here. Every single element of this array is an object. So my item is an object, and inside that item is a property called name. So that is the name, and the link will be item dot link. Now if I save this and I go here, I see that I don't need to use the semicolon here, and if I save this, it says it compiled successfully. And if I go back, I see I didn't have to create that UI by repeating myself, but rather than doing that, I had a procedural way of going about it. So I had all my social media handles stored in a variable called all social media handles, and they were objects formatted in a given format. Then what I did is I got access to that variable inside my rendering logic of social media component, and in that I mapped over all the elements, and while mapping I got past this callback function that has index, and so item and index inside it, and then I returned this JSX. So this parameter or this paradigm of writing React apps like this is very common, and in this what you do is you create a variable, and then you have your data sitting in there. Then in your UI logic, what you can do is you can map over it, and then from that map method you can return some JSX. This could have been anything. I could have just not created this component and used this sole unit here, but if I'm having this ability to create components and use my work in a different way, then I should use that. So I had this modular approach to this problem now, where I'm not repeating myself at all, and where I'm creating most of my UI using logic rather than doing styling and doing CSS and repeating myself. So this is where React is amazing. You see, now you're creating your UI based on logic rather than doing all those styling and repeating yourself in CSS and JavaScript and HTML and everything. So this should give you a slight idea of how powerful React is and where React wins over other things. So that being said, let's just go back and test our app if it's working properly. So if I click Facebook, you clearly see I'm redirected to Facebook. Say I clicked GitHub, I went redirected. Twitter got redirected, and clicking LinkedIn, I was redirected to LinkedIn. Now let's just style it a bit more. So say I want to remove that line under there. So what I can do is I can have the reference to this as this is the parent. So, and I can say you have a direct child of anchor tag under you. What I want to do is I want to have text decoration to none so that I don't get that underline. Then I want to have is I want to have a font weight, and these are just styling. Okay, so I want to have a font weight of say 700, and that is just going to make it a little bolder and little out there. And then I'm going to have a text transformation of capital, so or say uppercase, so that they are all uppercase letters. And then you can clearly see that it's converted, that the line is gone, they're all uppercase and they're out there, so they're like coming out in a way that they're slightly bolder. Now I also want to change the color, so I can explicitly go ahead and say I want the color to be say aqua for now. So they all, but it's not looking good, so let's just go ahead and say powder blue, and this color might be really familiar to you. This is something that Facebook uses, and if I say royal blue, then this should look good. Yeah, so these are the colors that Facebook uses a lot: royal blue and powdered blue. So when you go to Facebook, you see those colors a lot. Now instead of just using Facebook, GitHub, and now you can just replace those with icons, and this will look great again. Now there is another thing that I can do here is, and these are just things that you do to make your UI look good and your UI look great actually. So this is here, and what I can do is I can add a tooltip here. So let's just let me show you what a tooltip does first. So let's just say this is the tooltip. Now I'm also gonna, this can also be a example of how React is powerful in a way that if I change this component right here called social media item component and I give it a new thing called tooltip, then I don't have to do that in all the rendering logic that I'm going to write. So if I was using traditional HTML, CSS, JavaScript, I had to write this 4 times. Now I don't have to write this 4 times because I'm using the modular approach of creating things, and that gives me the power of changing it once and having those changes appear at all places, because I'm creating my UI in a modular approach that is utilizing the power of being able to say that this is what one given thing looks like, and I want you to create a number of these depending on the logic that I'm giving you. So just save that and see. So if I go here and if I wait for the tooltip, then this thing right here, this cursor, is gonna show me a little something down there, and that can take time, and this is just a styling thing, so I'm going to not do that now, but we might later come back and add more things to this. Okay, so this is one thing that I wanted to create. Now another thing that I can do is, say tomorrow you have done this and you suddenly created a new social media handle. So say you are now on Medium as well. So if you go ahead and change the data source, just the data source, and say you are on Medium now, so Medium, and you are writing blogs there, so Medium, and then you can link Medium, so https://medium.com. Now I want you to focus on how this modular syntax of writing your apps in a modular way and writing your apps in a way that logic is responsible for creating your UI, rather than you writing the UI in a sense that you style it everywhere and you repeat yourself multiple times. How is that not great compared to this approach? Now in traditional sense, what you had to do is, for this you had to go ahead and copy yourself again, then you had to paste that under here. So say previously we had 4 of that div thing, now you will have to add another 5th one here, and then what you have to do is you have to change the name in the link to this. In our case, what we did is we changed the data source, and if I just save this, you're gonna go back and you can clearly see that Medium already appeared here, and if I click this, it also redirects me to medium.com. You can clearly see it here. What's the great thing about this? This data I have hard coded right now. This isn't supposed to be hard coded for every single application. What I mean by that is, say you have this social media component and you want it to be dynamic in the sense, say you have uploaded your website somewhere and you have a database living somewhere else where all your data is stored. Now you have a backend server that we are going to create in this course later, which is going to be written in .NET. So say your .NET server is somewhere and your app interacts with your .NET server to get this data. Now your app is already deployed, right? You don't have to actually go ahead and change the code of your React app. What you can do is you can just add that Medium, so the name and the link to your database, and next time a user comes on your website, the data is going to be fetched again from your server, and when that is done, it's going to get a refreshed set of data elements. Now those refreshed set of data elements are gonna show in the UI without you changing anything in the UI. So now the good thing is that your data is controlling the UI that is displayed. Think of it in a sense that you have a platform where you are selling goods or you are selling any kind of services. Initially you were just selling flowers. Now 1 month later you have expanded your business to say sell chocolates as well. Now in that scenario, what you have to do is, if you are using a technology that is not data driven, say it's not React or any modern framework, and they are not data driven, what you have to do is you actually have to open up your app again, and you have to change the actual code inside that particular application, inside that particular app, for you to be able to show the new data on your app. So you have to take down your website for a while, then you have to update the code, then you have to push your website back up again, and then there might be bugs in that process, or there might be some problems and there might be some issues with that. In scenarios that don't have a data driven approach, this is a plausible thing, and this can be really inconvenient if you are a running fast business. Something like React is data driven. As you can clearly see, there is a modular syntax and data is controlling what's actually getting rendered on the server. So if I remove two of these, they are not going to be there anymore. If I add one more, it's going to appear as soon as somebody gets to my app again. Having this notion of data controlling the UI is really important when developing React apps, and this is how React is powerful. Now, as I already talked about, this could have come from a remote server, somewhere you control and some place you have a control on, and then you can directly change the data there rather than opening up your React app and your website going down. Once you are okay and you have completely changed the data to your will, then you can save that on your backend, and then next time when data is going to be fetched from your server, it's going to update and the UI is going to update automatically. So that's the power of React here. That's what makes React really powerful. Now I think that this social media feature right here that Vishwesh has, we have also completed it successfully. Just that we are using names instead of images and he is using images. So I think let's call it a day on this note, as we have completely created one component and we have learned a lot about how data is going to control our logic and how to do functional components. So what we did is, let's quickly summarize. So we created a folder called components, and inside our components we created a folder called social media components. In that we had two files. So social media component, that is this JavaScript file, and we imported things, and then we created a data source called social media handlers. Then we had our JSX rendered here, so I had this return. I created this container called social media container, and inside that I had all the social media items initially in different divs. Then I realized over a development cycle that I was repeating myself a lot, so I abstracted out that detail. Inside I created another folder called social media items component, and in there I created this JavaScript file called social media items component.js, and here I created a component with the same name. Then I isolated that structure in bits that were reusable. So what I did was I created this outer div that was this social media items container, and then I had a anchor tag, and inside that anchor tag two things were supposed to change depending on the data, and those were links and name. So I isolated those on props. Then I went back to my social media components, and what I did was I used my data source to map all the data, and in this case I'm not using the index, so I can actually remove this, and this is not going to affect my logic in any sense. If I was using index, I would have kept it, but what I'm doing inside my map is I'm just returning some JSX that comes from the component that we just created called social media items component, and we pass it the name and we pass it the link. Now things that went well for us using this approach is we could add another element right here, and let me just add another one here, and let's call it, what do you want to call it? Let's just call it a fake name. So say R my social network, or call it MySpace, just to make it real, and the link is going to be something, or let's just make it HTTPS actually, so that we can actually see that this is going to work. So myspace.com. now this was an older thing back in time. Just to demonstrate, this is not our purpose right now, so we're just going to save this, go back, see MySpace is here. If we click this, we get redirected. That's the behavior we wanted. So our social media component is ready right now, and we can use it wherever we want to. Now next, what I want to do is I want to create the component that is responsible for navigation. So in the next lecture, I'm going to be talking to you about how to navigate in a React app, because we are creating a single page applications, and right now what we did is we were jumping to a different page when we were clicking. So if I click GitHub, we were jumping to a different website. But in navigation, I don't want you to do that. What I want is I want to have that navigation change my UI in a way that I'm still on my own website. So we're going to look into that. We're going to also ask the question again whether this has to be a functional component or a class-based component. Then we are going to look into a library called React Navigation, and then we are going to use that library to actually build a navigation system for our app so that we can jump on multiple pages. Then in coming lectures, we are going to finish this page by creating this component and actually placing all these components together finally in a way that this starts to look in a formal, good manner. On that note, I'll take a leave for today, and I hope to see you soon. Hope you enjoyed and keep learning. I'll see you soon.